Hello everyone, hope you're alright. It's the middle of the week now and I'm recording slightly later today than normal because I think the kids are at that point where it's middle of the holidays, they've lost all normality, they've had a bit of a, I don't know, they're at the Nans today, they've been having a great time. I don't know how much time they spent sort of out and about playing or whether they spent a lot of time on Kindles and iPads and whatnot, but it was a lot less... there's a lot of defiance, there's a lot of not really listening and stuff like that. It was a bit more like, come on, do this, do that. And it's like, oh, trying to pull blood from a stone. They're all so relaxed that they're just not ready to engage or rush about because there's no real reason for them to push to bed quickly or whatever. I spent probably the past half an hour trying to get Ollie down by showing him. I was writing, we had this screen that wipes clean when you press a button, and I was just writing random Pokemon names on it, and he was looking at them and trying to read what name it was. And I'm thinking some of those names are quite complex and difficult, but it was interesting because I thought their names he's really familiar with. I'm trying to turn his obsessions into something positive and useful. Part of that's come from I've been watching, so I don't know how well received this program is. You know, it's one of those things where you feel like the more I learn about I can't think of the right word, the common, you know, there's lots of common beliefs or feelings, or when someone mentions a group on Twitter or Facebook, people who, you know, are handling sort of living with autism or working with people with autism or whatever it is, you know, in the whole kind of community spirit of it all, people have opinions of groups and there's common themes or there's reasons why things aren't watched or whatever. So I don't know how this one's received, but I've been watching Atypical on Netflix. I watched last season anyway just because it was on and I thought it was really cool, and I've been watching this season, and it's weird this year watching it. It's an odd feeling watching it this year, knowing what I know now, because when I watched it before, I think I was just interested in it, in the programme, in the themes. It sounded like, you know, I'd heard good things. So this year I was very much like, okay, I was watching it anyway because of the story, but now I'm starting to pick up on little things or empathise with little things or realise little things that I hadn't really connected the dots on before. And that's been really interesting. And one of the things I noticed watching it is the character in that is obsessed with penguins and the Antarctic, and he's really into it all. He knows it in detail. And I sort of said Claire doesn't watch it with me, but I mentioned to her that when I was watching it last night, all I kept thinking was, I know Ollie's only 6, but his big obsessions, the things he talks to us about constantly, are Minecraft, Roblox and Pokemon. And I'm kind of like, we should encourage him to look at other things, because that, I don't know whether that's part of the story exactly. I think it's just they're making it out that it was literally just the thing that he was most into. There's lots of characters in it who are into other things, like defibrillators, randomly one of them. But I kind of feel like as he gets older, we should probably try and nurture positive things that he's into, or at least make the most out of what he's into. So tonight, I didn't really plan it this way, but I off the cuff just started writing down Pokemon names and getting him to read them, and he was sat there, bless him, for ages, going tame, rock, eat, tame, rock, et, and he was going through the different noises, and then he was like team, rock, eat, and I was like, come on, you're so close, you can get this. And then even when he got it right, he stared at me blankly like team, rocket, and he was just like, what is this? And then I think it suddenly clicked in his mind, it was Team Rocket, and because he was thinking Pokemon, I'd confused him slightly because they're not really a Pokemon, they're a team. But it's fascinating watching his little mind tick over, because when we're reading books and stuff, he gets most of the words. He's coming on really well at reading. I've created a bit of a buzz with that, because I said to him, if he learns to read, then he can... Basically, I've told him when he can read properly and just kind of sit there and read through things, then I'm quite happy to get him a DS so he can play things like Pokemon, Sun and Moon and games like that, because he'll be able to read the story. So I'm trying to turn that into a bit of a tangible thing that he can benefit from, rather than just he knows the name of 900 Pokemon and he can't do anything with it. I don't know how much that's going to help, but I mean, the love of Minecraft we tried to turn into a love for Lego, which seems to be working. We had a bit of a problem today where he basically went a bit mad at Claire for basically suggesting that he take apart one of the ones he'd half finished, take it to his Nans and rebuild it, and the thought of taking it apart just upset him immensely, so that was awkward. It's been an interesting day with stuff like that. Like, I was telling her about the stuff I'd seen in the programme that was just interesting. There's things that have kind of been playing on my mind, because actually, like, I've been binging it, so I watched like 3 or 4 episodes last night. And one of the episodes was them meeting up with a couple that they used to be friends with, and they thought they'd just drifted apart. And then while they were chatting, the dad's friend said to him something like, yeah, it was really hard having the kids play with your son when he was younger because he was always screaming or kicking off and stuff. And I just thought, that really hits close to home. That's really something where we're a bit like, has he not been invited to this or that because they're worried about the way he's going to act when he's there? You know, have they seen how he gets sometimes when he's upset in class? And it's on and off every now and again. Most of the time he's invited to things and he's included very well, but there's the odd time that he's not. And you start worrying, is that because of this? And is that going to become more common? So it's been really interesting watching it because you sort of I see so many things in it and I'm like, yes, I understand that completely. Other things I'm like, we don't have that, or, you know, our situation isn't like that, or whatever. Just, it's an interesting program and I feel like it's a good insight. I don't think it's going to cover everybody's lives. I know that I think Anna watched it and didn't find it that relatable at all. But at the moment, I don't know, I feel like just as a skimming along with this sort of, you know, scenario in a story, it's interesting to me. So it's obviously a hot topic in our house, so a program about it was welcome. I'm slightly nervous today because tomorrow they're going to I can't remember what it's called. It's like a sports day type thing. I think I did a video about it when they went there before. It's ran by like an ex-pro footballer, and they play football. They play like a capture the flag game. They play zorbing and stuff like that. And Ollie was saying to me today that last time they did it, he was kind of ignored. Like, when basically if you get tagged in capture the flag, you have to go to jail and then your teammates come and rescue you. But he said basically what he was experiencing was people weren't coming to rescue him because he was a bit of a team liability, because he'd just get caught or he wouldn't follow instructions and he was just running at all sorts. And I thought to myself, maybe that's on us to tell them that, you know, he's going to have trouble engaging in it the same way as other children are. We haven't spoken to them because I don't really know how you approach it, because we haven't got anything official to back up what we say. It's just a kind of, oh, by the way, you've got to cater for this. I think they pick up on a lot of these things, but I don't know, a little bit of me's worried now. I basically said to him, well, this is all part of the learning curve as well, because my instinct was to say to him, you know, make sure you try and be calm, or that if, you know, you're feeling a bit difficult with everything, take a time out with it all, don't get too carried away and upset if you can help it, that kind of thing. And then I was trying to say to him, like, if you have a good day, you can stay up later because you don't have to get up the next day on Friday. Mummy's home with you, you know, so you can stay up later and play Minecraft or something. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, I want him to have a good time at nursery and at the event and at swimming afterwards. It's going to be a really busy day. But then I'm kind of like, I shouldn't be incentivizing him to behave exactly, because that's not how it works. You know, I get that. I know that he's not gonna behave differently because I've promised that he can do something. That's not what's affecting him. That's not what's causing the outburst. It's not that he hasn't got a reason to behave. It's that he can't handle the situation. So I felt really awkward, kind of. What I should have just been saying was, at the end of the day, you can stay up later, you can do this, and hope that that gives him some sort of peace of mind that if he's feeling a bit overwhelmed, at least he's going to get to go home and do his Minecrafting when he does. But what I seem to have ended up doing is put this in his head that if he has a bad day, he's not going to get to play, and I feel like that's going to make a rod for his back. And it's one of those where I can't really undo the explanation now, so I feel like another learning curve for today. But no, I mean, all in all, I don't really know what... It's hard to know with this. If he's getting ignored and stuff like that, or he's finding it difficult, then part of me doesn't want to put him in that kind of scenario, but then I feel like not putting him in those scenarios is admitting defeat and locking him out of things. So I need to take a steer from him. If he says he doesn't want to do it, then fine, we won't do it. If he says he wants to do it, which at the moment he does, then great. I was hoping Emily would follow him around a bit and play with him and help him with tactics on capture the flag and stuff like that, but I think they usually end up on different teams and she ends up trying to catch him. So fair enough, I'll let them build their own relationship there. That'll be fine. It was quite fun watching on ATypical how the brother and sister interact on that, because I thought Emily is more likely to be like the sister on that, taking the mickey and being a bit more brutal in a kind of caring, funny kind of sisterly way. I don't see her being the sort that would mollycoddle him, and that's probably a good thing. Not that she's mean to him, she's not mean to him at all, she's very good to him, but I just think as they get older, I'd prefer them to have that kind of relationship than one where she's subservient in some way. And so it's been quite cool watching it, but I'd love to know what people think of it as a community, because, you know, it's good to see it being raised and pointed out, and they're covering a lot of good issues on it, and it's been really cool. Overall, though, the rest of the day's been pretty straightforward. I actually did some writing when I got in. I was giving Ben some raisins to eat, and the kids were busy, and Claire wasn't here, and I thought, my laptop's right there, so I tapped out 400 words while he was eating a little pot of raisins and babbling at me. It's quite funny, actually. I don't know, question of the day. How many times have you came home from work with a tree to give to your other half or family? Because I seem to get trees all the time. I'm pretty sure I've done a video where I came home with a tree. And today, I come home with another one. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I think I accidentally made my friend feel a bit guilty. We had not even a disagreement. I think I explained something to them. They were a bit like, oh, I didn't realise. And I said, no, it's fine. Like, it wasn't any skin off mine. It was nothing to do with me. But then they were given the tree, and then they just said, oh, I'm going to put it, you should give it to Claire. And so when I was driving home, I wondered whether it was a peace offering or something that actually it wasn't required in the slightest. Do you know what I mean? I hadn't even at all thought that anything was wrong, but they randomly gave me this tree, and I'm like, yeah, cool. That can go with the other tree, which I'm not even sure where. It must be in the garden. I'm looking around the house like we've got a tree in the house. Claire's planted it in the garden somewhere. But I'm pretty sure that's definitely the second tree I've come home from work with, but it's probably about the 5th tree that I've come home with in one way or another over the past decade. And that's like, and I don't mean like we went out and bought a Christmas tree. I mean, bog standard day of the week, I've randomly acquired a tree. Is that even a tree? I don't even know. It looks like bamboo or something. Is that bamboo? You tell me. But it looks like a tree. I don't know why it keeps happening. I feel like I lead this really bizarre, weird life where stuff just happens, and that's me. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. I'd really like to know your thoughts on the whole, you know, putting him into things. I suppose if he wants to do them, that makes sense. I'd like to know your thoughts on Atypical. I guess what I'm trying to say, if someone says to me, oh no, we don't like it for this reason, that's not going to stop me watching it, because I find it useful and it's an interesting program. But I'd like to hear people's thoughts on it, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. It is pretty decent. I feel like it got the kind of Netflixy American TV show premise to it that makes it seem a bit off at first, but it's got a really lovely story to it and seems quite good. So, like, there's lots of extra bits. I don't know, it's decent, it's good, I like it, but I'm prepared to hear why I shouldn't. Can't think of much more to talk about, so I'm going to wrap up. Thanks very much for watching. Sorry it's been a bit choppy. My dog decided to whine, moan, make lots of noise and all sorts of stuff, and I don't know why she's not settling down, bless her. But she's had a haircut today, isn't she pretty? Let's put the camera down, and I don't know if I'm actually pointing at her right, but she's like a little goat, bless her. But yeah, you out, Molly? She's ignoring me. She's not happy. Anyway, thanks for watching. I shall see you over the weekend, probably. Although I might do an update tomorrow on how the sports thing goes. Hopefully it'll be a good one. And then Saturday, I mean, Emily wants to do some filming with me. She asked me if she could film me on her phone, and I'll film on my phone, and we'll match it all up. So I don't know how that's going to go. She's 10, so whether her filming will be, I don't know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we could do that over the weekend. That'd be quite a fun little experiment. I can edit it together and make it into a workable video, I'm sure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the weekend. Cheers, bye.